Give me those beams.
I think one way to understand this is in developmental stages.
Number one sky orb,
So if you give maybe a toddler a marimba
cold and distant,
and some sticks to bang it with,
since always.
they're just gonna randomly follow their impulse. Like beep beep boom 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 beep beep beep.
The sun is very, very harsh, and we live in a sort of sun worshipping cult.
They have a disorganized impulse, which is fine. But is that adulthood?
Everyone wants to burn hot and fast, and can't wait till the next time we can burn hot and fast.
Like, what? Maybe not even that.
And I love the sun. I think it's very, very healthy to absorb the rays of the sun. Without that, you're not going to make vitamin D the natural way. And if you're not going to get real light into your retinas, it's a really bad scene.
A lot of Western somatics are not necessarily trying to move the person towards adulthood. And so the paradigm keeps reverting back to being a child.
You're actually learning to feel things that you can't feel in a way that allows you to understand that it's always happening and it's always available. That
Which is beautiful. Which is beautiful. But I think there's a very anxious attachment towards being child in Westernist somatic culture.
they can go too far, like anything. If you take too much medicine in a certain direction, it becomes a poison.
That also pertains to this obsession with trauma safety, because you have to protect children, but that's not really what we're doing.
And so we're in that poisonous cultural place where we as a culture have sort of taken the medicine of individuality and independence in its extreme state of extreme polarity.
And I think this is especially relevant when you're talking about whiteness, because you can't have white children ruling the world in these positions of power.
And now everything that we do, say, or act is colored by that polarity.
Annihilation. Annihilation is like stomping, yelling, da da da, all the stuff people did as like primal scream therapy. You see it in a lot of the screaming and yelling white people in kind of like cults in the 60s and 70s.
So anything that critiques that polarity is actually received in a hyper-inflammatory way. Even if you're just basically saying, you should chill out a
The
bit.
problem with white supremacy isn't necessarily that there's white people ruling everything, although that is kind of a problem.
Pause more and have better discernment and take more time to make decisions, then the capitalist society will take that to mean a threat to itself. And people will take that shit personally. And then they'll start World War III. And they'll write some fucking call out letter.
The larger underlying problem is there this kind of developmental immaturity that is coddled and allowed to rule. And one of the expressions of that is whiteness. Right? So we're a culture ruled by developmental immaturity, embodied immaturity.
A culture based on competition and not cooperation. And so everything inside of that, directed to that, from that, with that, is going to be inflamed because we enter an inflammatory system.
Nothing is pure, nothing is simple. There is a side when too much discipline becomes totalitarian. So I invite you to also understand the disciplining. How would I hold it? We want the discipline to move us into a direction.
That's a great joy for me, to sort of poetically dance with these forces that we think are different, and they might actually be the same, and they might actually be happening right now.
That can hold that paradox and help us be sovereign beings.
But there are thresholds in our system to like stop us from feeling things and to keep us feeling other things.
Let's be clear about what the discipline is for.
So instead of this linear, I must do this before I feel that.
A lot of the time we're also reaching back into our culture for authenticity, but we to develop critique, develop complex relationship, we got to think about all the things. Okay.
You start to erode that linearity. You become a little bit alinear.
Okay. So I just wanted to clear that up. Yeah, I don't know if I botched that, but